Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Sammer, along with my co-host Stank and Poppy Latte, and you're watching the Loose Cannons Super Bowl Blitz, Episode 1, presented by Red Cat Plumbing and Air, a Tampa-based company that takes pride in the reputation for timely service, professional results, and exceeding your expectations. They truly define hashtag Tampa Proud. We are joined for this first episode by Barstool Sports only Stephen Cheah. Stephen, welcome to the show. The Bucs are in the Super Bowl. We met with you before the season started. Here we are. We're in the Super Bowl. Tell me about how this season has been for you leading up to this point.
I mean, first off, Sammer, it's great to be back with you guys on the Loose Cannons pod. You guys are now famous. I mean, Buccaneers.com is picking you guys up. You guys are everywhere. Pod's looking good. You guys are getting some great guests, so love that. But this has been a great season. I mean, obviously, all of us Bucs fans, as soon as we signed Tom, kind of knew it was all in for this season. And if you didn't know it was all in when they signed Antonio Brown, you knew it was all in. I mean, it's been a really fun season. We haven't seen this type of consistent winning football in 18 years, really, since the Super Bowl year. So it's been great. The whole season. I kind of had tempered expectations in the beginning just because I do radio hits with Drew Garabo on 102.5, I think, The Bone, every week. And I've been saying this team is not built for September. They're not built for October. They're not built for November. This team is built for December, January, and hopefully February. I think myself, you guys, all Bucs fans are just happy we're playing in February.
Oh, we're pretty stoked. We started off the season rough, too. We started off the season not expecting this, but as it's gone on and progressed, it's been – how can you not get excited, right?
Don't forget that first drive.
Oh, God. Oh, God. We won the Super Bowl on that first drive.
Oh, yeah.
I think I tweeted out, I got barbecued for this. I think I tweeted out, like, rooting for a good team is so easy with, like, sunglasses emoji. It was like, oh, my gosh, we're a wagon. And then, obviously, that game turned pretty quickly.
After that drive, I remember I called Poppy Latte, and I was screaming on the phone because I couldn't be there because I'd gotten COVID right before the first hangout where we were all going to watch at his house. And I called him yelling. I was like, dude, we're going to the fucking Super Bowl. That was amazing. That was the greatest first drive in the history of first drives ever.
You and every other Bucs fan felt exactly that same fucking way.
The worst part about that game, though, that I remember was because there was no fans. You can hear the ball hit the DB's hands. When he got that pick six, I was like, oh, no. What am I waiting? This is last year all over again. It was, oof. Good times now. 7-game winning streak. Is it 7? Is it 8? I don't even remember. It's easy to root for a good team. Where are my glasses at?
Right, yeah. I think it's 7 in a row. Close out 4 after the bye week and then 3 in the postseason. Hopefully make it 8. 8 for number 7 for Tom.
There's no hopefully. We are going to make it 8. We are going to make it 8.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I feel pretty confident going against the Chiefs, which is
wild.
I do. Steve, listen, I went back. I don't
know why I do.
I watched the game. I rewatched it. I got the game pass. I don't do the film thing like you do. Just watch the broadcast. Bro, I don't know why I feel good. Steven, tell us why you feel good. You're the film guy. You break it down. I just feel good.
So something big happened in the AFC Championship game that's getting talked about a little bit. Eric Fisher, the Chiefs left tackle, I think he was 2013 or 2012. I think it was 2013. Really bad draft class. He was the number 1 overall pick. He's been a solid player throughout his career. He's been kind of a mainstay at left tackle for them. Their best player on the offensive line, Mitchell Schwartz, is out, their right tackle. The interior of the line is not great. They had a center who was benched earlier in this year, and he's probably going to be starting again this game. Them going against, and then we have, one of the tackles that's subbing is Mike Remmers, who's best known for Super Bowl 50, just being an absolute turnstile for Von Miller. And now he's playing on a side he's not comfortable with. Couple that with the fact that the Bucs last week with Aaron Rodgers got pressure with 4 guys. I mean, Shaq Barrett and JPP were all over Aaron Rodgers. And granted, they had a backup left tackle in there, Billy Turner, that JPP really took out to the woodshed. But if the Bucs can get home with 4 guys, that makes a big difference. And honestly, the biggest difference I saw from last week to other weeks, I mean, we all know it's Vita Vea. His first 2 snaps, 2 sacks. not by him, but by other guys. He just pushes the pocket so much where guys can't step up. Now, what worries me is Patrick Mahomes doesn't need to step up. There's Ted Wynn put together a good thread of just the throws he made the first game against the Bucs. I mean, it is just silly. Like, he's throwing, everything is off platform. There's one where he's rolling out to the left. There's a holding call, so it gets brought back, but he does a complete 360 and completes a pass like 20 yards down the field. So the fact that we can get this guy off platform and off his spot with our front four probably is great news. The bad news is he doesn't need that to be successful, unlike any other player. Aaron Rodgers certainly is very good at throwing off platform and can get out of the pocket and things like that. Mahomes has a different element of being able to scramble and also just being able to throw his left, right, deep down the field, wherever. And he's got guys like Tyreek Hill that, who was on pace for, I think Peter King confirmed it was like 998 yards after the first quarter, or halfway through the first quarter last time he played us. So
what happened?
We have a better showing.
What happened in the second half of that game? What did they do differently? A lot of people said that they called the dogs off. That's not what I saw. I still saw them being aggressive, blitzing Brady. I still saw Patrick, dropping back, throwing the ball. It wasn't like they were trying to salt away the game. They stayed aggressive, but what did we do differently that led to only 7 points over the last half, or the three quarters, something like that?
Yep. I mean, they started helping on Tyreek Hill a lot more. So they treated Tyreek Hill like other number one receivers. So we've seen Carlton Davis, who's a fantastic player. He can struggle with speed guys. We obviously saw it with Tyreek Hill the first time. We saw Marquez Valdez-Scantling stack him and get on top of him and get a touchdown, a deep ball. So he is susceptible to that. He is very, very good against DeAndre Hopkins, who I think he held to like 30 yards last year. Devontae Adams, he did a really good job on. Like Keenan Allen, like he's really good against those guys. And Michael Thomas, he pitches a shutout for, and two catches for like 13 yards over this season when he was guarding him. So he does really well against legitimate number one receivers that maybe don't have that fifth gear. Tyreek Hill has like a seventh gear, and Scantling kind of is another guy that is a speed merchant type guy. So what I would like to see, and I think would be really interesting, Travis Kelce's guy, who I think had 13 catches on 15 targets last week, I think. What if we put Carlton Davis on him? And then we just kind of double Tyreek Hill. So what the difference of what they did in the second half, to answer your question, Christian, was that they started putting Antoine Winfield and the safeties more on top of Tyreek Hill and doubling him earlier. When they played a lot of single high and stuff like that and had kind of a center fielder, it takes a lot of time for one of the safeties to get over to the other side with Tyreek Hill on that side. So Patrick Mahomes also did a good job holding his eye discipline, keeping the safety in the middle of the field. So it'll be interesting to see if the Bucs play a more conservative game. I've seen a lot of people suggest that we should play like the Bills played them in the regular season matchup, which was close. The Bills essentially did two deep safeties and kind of let them try to take away any deep shots and basically made them run. It didn't work out for Buffalo. I think they lost the game by 7. The difference with us is because of the number one run defense for 2 years. We got Vita Vea in the middle. I mean, he played 33 snaps last week. If he can be, 40, 45 snaps this week, that's a strategy that could work. Will it? Probably not. I would expect the Chiefs and Andy Reid are expecting that. But I mean, it's going to be an interesting matchup. We have a real shot at winning this thing.
Yeah, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers for a little bit, and one thing I thought about after we beat the Packers a couple of weeks ago was that the Bucs facing Aaron Rodgers was actually a good thing because he and Patrick Mahomes have a lot of similar style of play, right? They do a lot of that bootleg. They can move around. And like you talked about, he can throw, in a variety of different ways, his arm, and all the different angles that Aaron Rodgers can put together. Obviously, Pat Mahomes can do it on a different level, but it was really it gave me confidence to see the defense play a guy like Aaron Rodgers and not fall for a lot of that stuff in terms of staying at home, Devin White, not going right in on the quarterback once he starts to bootleg out and trying to play hero ball. So I think it's almost been, I don't want to say luck, but it's been lucky for us to be able to face the guys that we faced along the way now leading up to this matchup with the Chiefs because, like you said, I really think that Vita Vea And the fact that Todd Bowles now has film on this exact team against his guys without Jamel Dean. Keep in mind, Jamel Dean did not play in that first game, and I believe Ali Marpet didn't either, which kind of helped, some of the struggles that we were seeing on our side, on the offensive side of the ball. But Jamel Dean and Vita Vea being in this game, and the guys that we've matched up against so far in the playoffs, gives me so much confidence going into this game, whereas I usually wouldn't be as confident. But I'm extreme. I'm not nervous at all, man.
I hope we don't overthink it on defense. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I think we got to go with what got us here. Playing ultra aggressive, playing a lot of press. I know it kind of flies in the face of what you would think, especially since we got burnt so much in the last matchup. But give, whoever's on Tyreek Hill, give him help. But I think we got to stay aggressive, man. It wouldn't make any sense at this point to change our stripes.
So I had a very interesting conversation last night. So I co-host the Going Deep podcast on the Barstool Sports Network with Willie Colon and Joey Molinaro. We talked to Steve McClendon, who's our backup nose tackle, who was traded here mid-season. And he was Willie's teammate in Pittsburgh and went to the Super Bowl in the 2010 season, year 2011. And he said, and they lost the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, and he said that game has haunted him for his whole career. And something that stood out to him, and he's told the team this, is that it's not really about Kansas City. Like, it's literally about what the Bucs can do. If the Bucs can play their best game, they're going to win. So I think that's a really good mindset to have. And I also really hope he gives them a pregame speech, because the last time he did that was against Detroit, and that game was over in the first quarter.
Sweet.
Steven, I heard, I think, podcast, it might have been Pewter Reports, but they brought up an interesting strategic point. You said Buffalo played a lot of too high, kept everything in front of them, and just kind of, dared them to throw to run the ball.
Yep.
If we do that, we're great at stopping the run, etc. But I heard, since we have Vita back, does that allow us to rush 3 and then double Kelsey and Hill? Is that a strategy you think would work out, or that's probably not a good idea? Because we can get to the passer with 3, but it's just not as good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that opens up a whole another can of worms. Like, who are those 3? Like, are you putting like Ndamukong Suh and like Will Golston as part of that 3? Because that's probably the only 3 that can like technically stop the run. Like, it's really hard to stop the run with 3 guys. So I think that could be mixed in very once in a while, but I would be surprised if we dropped everyone. And that would also, I mean, if their offensive line is really, really bad, and Will Golston's having a multiple sack game in the Super Bowl, no offense to Will Golston, who's a really solid player, but he's not, a premier pass rusher, then that would be awesome. I don't foresee that happening. I think this Chiefs line, especially with 2 weeks together, is going to be able to be formidable enough. Like, I think they're probably going to be similar to the level, probably a little bit worse than Green Bay's last week, but can we take advantage? Billy Turner and Mike Remmers, Remmers didn't have a good Super Bowl, and, is kind of a shaky player, but, I don't necessarily foresee him having that similar of a game to Super Bowl 50, but I hope I'm wrong.
I mean, aren't we all expecting them to move the pocket quite a bit, to roll Mahomes out, to run a lot of trickery and motion and try to bring our guys one way and roll the other? I mean, I think that has to be their game plan. And knowing that, hopefully Todd Bowles, has prepared his guys to, attack that style of offense. I just can't see them dropping back and allowing our front 4, and knowing Bowles, but still, I doubt he can contain himself. He's still going to bring blitzers. He may drop a guy, but he's still going to bring guys from different places to confuse them. I think we gotta, we have to dictate to them. We can't sit back and let them dictate to us on offense.
Yeah, what's interesting about their offense is, you're right, they do use a lot of like eye candy, so like motion that doesn't necessarily mean anything, that can get you looking the wrong way, and give them that step. Again, with Vita coming back, what is good, Steve McClendon is certainly a fine player, as is Nacho, but Vita's different in the fact that he can occupy 2 blockers consistently. And then you see the speed of Levante David, of Devin White being able to go sideline to sideline. So I'm a little bit less worried about that, even though we have gotten with, some, jet sweep stuff and misdirection stuff in the past. With a fully healthy team, having 2 weeks to prepare for this Kansas City team. It's really, the fact is it's really hard, even with their speed, to run east-west on this Bucs team.
You've talked a lot about the the Bucs stopping the run, Vita Vea being a big part of that. Another guy who's pretty key to that is Whitehead, and whether he does or does not play, I think that's a bigger factor than Bucs fans want to admit to themselves. I feel like not only has he improved dramatically since last year and from the start of the season in terms of actually being, in coverage in the right spots and taking the correct angles, and he's caused some key turnovers or been part of that. He's been intricate in stopping that run and being up against the line of scrimmage and jet sweeps, things like that the Packers kind of implement, different elements of, but the Chiefs absolutely use stuff like that. The Saints use stuff like that. He was key in a lot of the stops there that allowed Levante and Devin to kind of, run between all the blockers and find those guys. What are you feeling would be the solution or the Band-Aid if he does not go for this game?
Yep. So this is why my guy Jason Light is Executive of the Year, because Jordan Whitehead had a great game. He forced 2 fumbles, big turnover to start the second half where they immediately capitalized. They might not win that game without Jordan Whitehead. Jordan Whitehead is awesome. You're right. Has improved certainly over the past couple of years. He's a guy who, no matter what happens, he's going 100 miles an hour. So he's either going to, make the right play going 100 miles an hour, or he might make the wrong play going 100 miles an hour. But he's going to give you everything he has. Hopefully he is ready to go for this game. But if he is not, Antoine Winfield Jr. should be back. He's obviously a very good player in the secondary. And then Mike Edwards has really come on and honestly is probably our best ball hawk. I mean, outside of Sean Murphy Bunting the past few games. Yeah. But he's a guy who can create turnovers just with his, the way he moves. And he has great hands. He's a guy who, a frustrating thing about Jordan Whitehead is if the ball is going directly to him, it's no lock he's going to catch that thing. No. Mike Edwards is not that. Mike Edwards, he is a guy who makes the most of every opportunity he has. He is not a starter. He comes in rotational duty. Bruce Arians said earlier this year, we have to find a way to get this guy on the field more. If he's forced on the field full time for the Super Bowl, that's not the worst thing in the world. So Jordan Whitehead, yes, will be the preference, is very good at stopping the run. But if we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and a game that's going to be, pass heavy, which, may or may not be the case, it's not a bad thing to have Mike Edwards playing more.
It might even be better, like you said, if it's a pass heavy game. He's definitely a more of a ball hawking safety than
Whitehead.
Yep. Wow, Whitehead is. Switching gears, Steven. Everybody's talking, we're talking defense. I want Antonio Brown to play. So I'm going to say that first out there before everybody misconstrues my statement or my question. Everybody who watches this podcast knows who wide receiver 1 is.
Yep.
Wide receiver 1 is Scotty Miller.
Yep.
Do you think by bringing AB back, he hasn't played much in the playoffs since the Washington game, I want to say, right? He got hurt in the Saints game early. Do you think bringing him back like during the season in week 8, and they kind of lost that Scotty Miller explosive element? Do you think that's a hindrance? Is it better if Antonio Brown just doesn't play? I find him. It sounds like a crazy statement, but you know what I'm saying? When he came in week 8, Scotty Miller disappeared from the gameplay. It was what is going on? This guy's
his touchdown.
And he did steal his touchdown.
Yeah,
he stole his touchdown.
He did.
Took his lunch money right there in the end zone.
They can't go away from that, right? Scotty Miller, I'm calling it right now. I told Sammer, and I'm switching gears right now, Sammer. Defensively, I said Devin White could be the MVP, and that was going to be my bold statement. I don't know. I don't think so, because I think this might be one of those quiet 14 tackle games for Devin. You know what I mean? No splash plays, just a tackling machine like he did against the Saints, I believe it was. Not the Saints. The Saints, he had the interception.
15 tackles last week against the Packers, yes. And it was quiet. He had the fumble recovery.
Nobody said anything. It was quiet. Yeah. I called that for defense, but I'm going to switch that. But I really think Scotty Miller could be the MVP in this game. I really do. If they use him the way they've been using him, the dude is incredible. And the chemistry he has with Brady. Do you think it's a hindrance if AB comes back?
So it's a great question. When we signed AB, you're right. We were immediately pretty clunky. I think that has a lot to do with chemistry. Brady and AB have chemistry. They've thrown a lot together. They've played, even if it was, one game in New England, but they work a lot together off the field. But when you look at the receiving core, Antonio Brown is a great player too. So that's not a knock on him. But you got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, and you got Antonio Brown. Both of those three, when you look at them vertically, are very similar players. Like if they ran a race, I don't think we'd be surprised if either one of them won. So they're very similar as far as stretching the field. What Scotty Miller does is he has that extra gear. Now, I don't think he's going to be running or racing Tyreek Hill at halftime, and I don't think he can beat Tyreek Hill in a race by any means.
Not even in a straight line?
No.
On this podcast, he'd beat him by a mile. Just
not even like come on, he was clocked reportedly pretty. I mean, not even a straight. Like change of direction. Tyreek is a freak
cone. He gets burned.
Line.
Straight line.
Tyreek Hill's a cheetah. I've said this all year. I've gotten crushed for it. I know you guys have been huge on the Scotty Miller wide receiver 1 train. Scotty Miller is the dollar store version of Tyreek Hill. That's not a bad thing. Tyreek Hill is an exceptional player and probably the best receiver.
Can we say Walmart version of Target? The Target, Tyreek is
sure.
Walmart, not dollar.
Said he's the Save-A-Lot version.
But I mean, what he does, and when he's on the field, he brings that extra layer. So you hear everyone say, "Take the top off the defense," but the defense has to account for him. As soon as I saw that for with whatever it was, 8 seconds left, we got to put back 2, and I saw Scotty Miller motion. He's always chopping his feet right before he's about to run a go route. You knew, like BA said, as soon as they saw the defense, they knew it was a touchdown. Like as soon as I saw Scotty Miller chopping his feet, I was like, he's running a go route. They're going for it all right now. And so if you take him off the field, then it, from my perspective, and I haven't played quarterback at a high level by any means, but if you have guys that are running similar route, I mean, they're going to have different route concepts and depths and things like that. But if they're all similar speed, you're less likely to get an early read. What they have done since the bye week is use a lot more pre-snap motion, so Brady can identify these things a little bit quicker. Short answer to this very elongated answer is Antonio Brown is a little bit duplicative, but let's not forget he has made a lot of big third down plays for this team, especially recently. If you do play him and it takes Scotty Miller off the field, that's not always a good thing. Tyler Johnson's also a guy who this could affect, who has been incredible. I mean, the 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 10 catch against the Saints changed the game.
Yes,
that was a complete game changer. Where he could have lost that game if he does not make that catch. And then obviously the pass interference against Green Bay, he had another big catch too that I think was on 3rd down. But yeah, Antonio Brown, a little bit duplicative, but I mean, he's so talented. I don't see how you don't try to get him involved. So if he is healthy and ready to go, I'm not mad at him at all playing. I think he should eat into more snaps of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin than the other guys, to be honest.
Yeah, and since they've come out of that bye week, he's been extremely effective on crossing routes, shallow little routes like that, even some things where he's kind of wiggling in the backfield. Having him come out of the backfield as a running back on a couple of plays that should have been there, but either it was Tom had to kind of throw it a little high just to get it out of there. But I think they're going to use him in a more of a gadgety way and try to figure out ways to get Scotty on the field, just because Scotty, like you said, he does things that AB does not do right now. And
nobody does on this team.
And as much as we've given Byron Leftwich shit since the beginning of the season, over the down the stretch, these 7 games, he's done a great fucking job. Whether that's been execution or, I mean, I got to give him credit. I'm not going to just talk shit. I have to give him credit. Like, he's done a good... Now.
It took us 25 minutes to curse on this podcast. What the fuck?
I know, what the fuck,
finally.
Right? I'm shocked that I'm not shocked. I'm pleased to see him utilizing these guys in a better fashion. And if AB is on the field in terms of just being a decoy at times, I'm not going to be mad at that. Like you said, we have Tyler Johnson. We have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, obviously. We have Scotty. We have these guys that can just step in. We have Cam Brate. I mean... Hold
on a second. Imagine talking about the Bucs in the Super Bowl. All of our weapons, and
talking about Scotty.
Nobody's even said the word Gronkowski, bro.
No.
Who had a big game? Who had a big game against the Chiefs last time, too?
Yeah,
correct.
Nobody's even... Like, the guy doesn't even exist anymore. Is this the moment where just Gronk... It's the Super Bowl. It's Brady. It's Gronk. It's crazy.
So it's funny you say that, Stank, because Barstool Sportsbook has, which is live in like Pennsylvania and Michigan only right now.
Mm-hmm.
But, I put out like a parlay, so I actually go through all the props and take a look at them. I'm actually pretty heavy on Gronk this week. I like him to catch a touchdown. Brady looks to him all the time in the red zone. I mean, last week, I think he had kind of a bailout throw to Gronk. Like when he gets in trouble, he's looking to Gronk. Even in the Saints game, he runs a slant against Malcolm Jenkins on like 3rd and goal. It gets broken up, but the safety or the Chiefs have smaller safeties. Now, they're not saying they're bad, but Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, is a small guy. If you line up Gronk in the slot against him, I mean, that's advantage Gronk. And that's no slight to Tyrann Mathieu. It's just that Gronk is such an enormous dude. But the way the Bucs have operated recently, since the bye week, is they have been using a lot more 12 personnel, so 2 tight ends and 1 back. And Gronk is a far superior blocker than Cam Brate. Cam Brate has some really good receiving skills, and absolutely has good chemistry with Tom Brady. So he's typically the guy that's going to go out for passes more. But we saw last week when a big play needed to be made, there's Gronk on a little tight end slip screen, and he takes it 30 yards. Yeah. So I think Gronk, and also not to be discounted, they've said it all playoffs, like Tom Brady and Gronk have the most, or tied for the most touchdowns from a duo. I think maybe like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. They need one to break that. I wouldn't be surprised if that record falls this weekend.
Especially with Kels getting all the love this week. It's all been about Kels. Nobody's talking about Gronk. It's kind of, just one of those games where he might just go under the radar, like you said, and have a Gronk type performance in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I can see him have a moment like the one against the Rams, where it was a low scoring game, and then you think they're going to get it done. You're like, wow, the Rams are actually going to do it. And then, damn it, man, Brady to Gronk on the freaking huge pass. DB's draping over him, and he's just Gronking on people, just beasting. I want to go back just really quick because it made me smile there when you said, and that's the fun part about being a fan. Call him the shot, call him the interception. I feel a pick coming here, I feel a turnover. When that happened with Scotty Miller, I saw him come in motion. I looked at my father-in-law and I said, holy shit, I stood up. I was like, they're going to, and they snapped it. I was like, they're going to Scotty, touchdown. I turned around. I started fucking screaming, balls in the air. It was fucking awesome. That's the exact moment where I lost my voice because I called the shot.
I lost my voice before the game even started. But
one other thing before we move on. Today, I went and got a sandwich at a local bodega here, and they had some Gronk beer. Let me see if I can get it to focus in here.
Gronk beer?
Gronkzilla.
You need to bring that to my house.
Go Gronkzilla.
You need to bring that to my house.
Shout out to Motorworks Brewing. I'm definitely going to have to try that. To me, it was just another sign. Don't sleep on Gronk.
We've talked about all these weapons, Steven, and if we've had an amazing run in the playoffs with what we call playoff Lenny, right? And he's done a ridiculous job filling in for an injured Rojo. Rojo should be 100%, right? And if you remember correctly, Rojo had one of his best overall games against the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though we lost that game, he was intricate in catching passes and running the rock. How do you see him getting involved or being utilized by Byron Leftwich, who I've given props to for the first time ever as a play caller? How do you see them using him and playoff Lenny together now that they have both of them healthy, a 1-2 punch? And again, keeping in mind that maybe the approach to beating a Chiefs team is sometimes running the ball more often than not, simply to keep the ball away from them, but obviously capitalizing on when you do have the ball.
Are we going to see Bucs fans happy when we run on first down?
Yes.
Oh. Hell no.
I think they're going to utilize the hot hand. I would be surprised if Ronald Jones got more touches than playoff Lenny. The reason is Fournette, and we've seen this throughout the entire season, he's a guy who is in the Mike Allstott mold that he is more effective the more touches he gets. He's a big guy. He's a bruising back. He's not going to make a lot of people miss. I mean, outside of, a couple runs last week. I'm always surprised when he makes someone miss in the open field. But he did have that incredible spin move and then the dive for the touchdown. He's a guy that is better at being an outlet receiver. That being said, neither of those guys should be primary options on passing plays unless it is a very short screen. And even so, I'm very hesitant on that. We have seen both of these guys make a catch before, but we've seen probably about as many drops from both of them. Fournette has been better in the playoffs, but I think even last week he had a couple pretty bad drops. So the tell is when Ronald Jones is in, typically it's going to be a run. Now, we'll see if that proves to be true this week. But he's just so much better at running the ball than either pass blocking or catching passes. That just makes sense. Fournette is a little bit better of a pass blocker. I don't really put that whoever the free rusher was where Tom threw it up to Mike Evans, like that wasn't his fault. I thought Troy Aikman and Joe Buck did a good job breaking that down on the broadcast. But Fournette can body people up a little bit more. And he does have a little bit more reliable hands, although I wouldn't call his hands good. So that's still an area where I would be surprised if it's not addressed this offseason, just a receiving back. Because even we saw Keyshawn Vaughn, who for the most part was heralded as a pretty good receiver, him drop a couple passes. So it's plagued that position group the entire season. But if I'm projecting towards this game, just because of how hot he is and how he does in the passing game versus the other guy, I think Fournette's going to out-touch him. Maybe not out-carry him, but out-touch him.
Yeah, as
confirmed. Stephen Shea just confirmed James White is going to be signing here in the offseason.
Yeah,
and when we sign James White, this offense will be completely unstoppable, and we're going to go 16-0 next year.
Yeah, I brought up Rojo just because he brings an explosive factor when it comes to running the ball.
Yes,
he hits the holes harder, faster, whatever it is. He is angry running the fuck out of every fucking possession, and I feel like that's something you need against the Chiefs. You need to get 4 to 5, 6 yards every time you touch the ball. And more often than not, I know Leonard's done really well in the playoffs. He also has those 1 or 2 yard gains or just no gains. And against the Chiefs, where they have those safeties like Tyrann Mathieu they can bring in and really get after Tom on 3rd and long, they have to make sure that their third downs are manageable throughout this game, and running the ball obviously does that and keeps the ball away from the Chiefs. The biggest key for me against the Packers was that first drive, I think we were 3 of 3 on 3rd down, and that was huge.
I think we were like 6 for 6 on our first 6 of them. Yeah. So, I mean, if we can keep converting 3rd downs, I mean, we're going to win the game pretty healthily. But
Steven, you joked about will Bucs fans be upset if we run on 1st down? We just don't. We're not successful at all. I mean, if we got 4 or 5 yards a clip on 1st down, it'd be a different story. But it's like 1 yard gain, 2 yard gain. It's baffling. We and I get why they're trying it, but I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem like we have consistent success, especially on 1st down trying to run the ball.
What's baffling more, excuse me, Stephen, is the running on 1st down and then on 3rd and 2 going empty set and taking a shot.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Hey, Mike Evans.
That's the running down.
Yeah, but he hit Mike Evans on a nice one on that first drive.
He did.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that, though, is the defense showing the Bucs that one-on-one matchup, and it's Tom. Tom's going to see that. Tom's going to say, fuck it. I'm throwing it to Mike Evans one-on-one or Chris Godwin one-on-one. Whatever happens, fucking happens. And I get that. It'd be interesting to see if that's what they still allow Tom to do in this game, or if they still kind of try to grind and bleed the clock.
I have Dave Portnoy was saying it when we were on a stream a couple weeks ago, but like I was yelling about us throwing deep on like a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 and it's incomplete. He's like, dude, it's Tom Brady. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to tell him what to do? It's kind of like Bucs fans have like Stockholm syndrome because we're so used to like Jameis Winston, or Josh Freeman, or Josh McCown, kind of airmailing the ball. It's like, what are we doing? Just get the easy 1st down and let's live to fight another couple downs. But Tom Brady's a different guy, so. It's still every time it happens and it's 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 and we go empty or we're throwing it deep. I have to bite my tongue and just kind of hold my breath. But I gotta just learn to trust him. I mean, Tom Brady he's the GOAT. Can't deny it.
Steven, in that Packers game, the refs swallowed the flags the entire game. Are you expecting we're going to see something similar here in the Super Bowl? Like it's going to be a let them play type of game, or I don't know.
I don't, just because I'm sure that Andy Reid watched that game, pointed out everything, and is making it known to the officials before the game. Hey, number 23 over there, if the ball's in the air, he tends to be a little bit grabby, that type of thing. So I feel like they will be looking out for it, but I hope not. I mean, last week, yes, you could argue that Sean Murphy-Bunting grabbed, whatever the receiver's shoulder pad, and that was a hole. But there were also plenty of other plays on the, what was it, the 3rd and goal? I think it was the 3rd and goal, He was the second and goal of the last series the Packers ended up having with them going in for the end zone. I mean, Shaq Barrett's being basically put in a sleeper hold by an offensive tackle. He has his arms up, being like, where's the hold? I mean, if that ball's complete, the Packers are going for 2 in the tie. So there were plenty of things that weren't called. The SMB INT was certainly the most important based on the end result. But I mean, there were plenty of things not called.
Yeah, there were so many false starts. There was 2 delay games where the clock was at 0. They didn't throw a flag.
Yes, the delay games are killer. I mean,
even
as long as they call it even, then we can live with that.
Even that throw to Gronk.
Even
that throw to Gronk in the end zone. Gronk was being held before the ball was there. Like, that's a penalty by fucking definition. But if they're going to do what you're saying, it actually works in the Bucs' favor. Bruce Arians' offenses, even going all the way back to Arizona, have been in the top 5 or top 10 at least every year in getting defensive pass interference calls by the refs. It's the nature of that offense. If they're going to throw it, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, those guys are going to benefit from those flags, I think, more than the Chiefs receivers would.
God, if Mike Evans ever learned how to lead the DB into contact, there's a lot of, when the ball's not thrown very well and it coming back to the ball and actually, committing that contact, he'd get a flag every fucking time. He'd rather go up and out rebound him.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Steven, because all the Packers fans bitching. If Shaq Barrett isn't held, not just on that 3rd and goal, all game the man was held. He might have 8 fucking sacks in one game. I mean, he was all over the backfield and held on every damn play. So I don't want to hear it, cheeseheads.
No. Listen, Steven, last time we had you on the show, I think it was before we started our whole chicken wing nonsense, right?
It is.
I don't think we've asked you the most important question we ask guests who come on this show, and that's question. Sorry, it's a package deal. Is like, how do you prefer your wings? Are you going dry rub? Or are you going drenched in sauce, man?
Drenched in sauce, blue cheese.
Oh, he said blue cheese. We didn't have to hit him with the follow-up. No. This man knew what was.
I know
yes.
You guys got a hot blue cheese versus ranch debate. It's blue cheese all the way.
Thank you.
All the way. Would you have been able to keep yourself from wings and blue cheese if we were facing the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, man. Playoffs.
He's on the TB12 diet, though.
I'm doing TB12. So even Sunday, I'm eating a TB12 performance meal and probably a smoothie in the morning and then maybe like a fish lunch. So got to keep it consistent.
Like? Walk us through a typical TB12 day.
Sure. So it's mainly organic food. It's not like you have to eat like a lot less, but you have to drink at least half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you have to drink at least 100 ounces of water. That's pretty difficult for me because I drank very little water before I started this. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to have like other stuff, like soda, beer, alcohol. I mean, you can have alcohol, but then you got to double up. If you have 12 ounces of alcohol, you're supposed to have 24 ounces of water. I can't do that. It's hard enough as it is. So the water in the morning, you have to wake up and have about 20 ounces of water. That's honestly the hardest part. That takes me a solid 20 minutes to finish, if not 30 minutes. Do that. I'll usually exercise. I got a Peloton, so I'll go for a ride. Then I'll have, a smoothie or like an egg breakfast, no cheese, no butter on the toast, organic whole wheat bread. For lunch, it's not bad, like beans, chicken, sweet potatoes, broccoli. They encourage a lot of vegetables. They encourage vegetables to be about 2/3 to 75% of your plate. So pretty heavy on the vegetables. And then dinner, it can vary. Like I can make burgers or steaks. You just got to use kind of organic grass-fed meat and then a lot of vegetables again, like 2/3 to 75%. So Brussels sprouts, broccoli, asparagus, sweet potatoes, things like that are all good. So, yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's a little bit more expensive because things are supposed to be organic and chemical free. But I mean, the results are palpable. I'm like 1 or 2 pounds heavier than I was when I graduated college 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
It's noticeable. Yeah, the first thing we said when we saw you on camera was damn, dude, you could actually see it in your face, your jaw. You can see the bloat or the loss of the water weight, and it's awesome.
Appreciate it, Stank. Very kind.
Do you feel the difference as far as TB12 performance? You've had the Peloton for a little bit. Have you felt the difference now, being on this diet? Are your rides going better?
Yeah, I would say so. I do have more energy. So, I mean, it is a really nice way to live. Like if you have time to do it, and you can, they're very upfront about it that the grocery bill is going to be higher. I'd say it's roughly like 33% higher for anyone wondering. But yeah, like if you have the time to do it and you have the time to cook meals and do meal prep and things like that, like I think it's absolutely worth it. The TB12 has like great like proteins and stuff like that, and electrolytes, which really help. So, I think that it's a really good diet. If I, had the time and money to, invest in this, I would probably do it mostly year round with like, a couple of exceptions, when some wings came along or, I wanted to have a pizza or something like that. But I mean, it's honestly a pretty good way to live. It's just, I started this commitment the day after the Falcons game for the playoffs. And I said, I'm going to do it until we're either eliminated from the playoffs or we win the Super Bowl. And I mean, the plan, I have a sheet printed out in my closet that says Sheet of Accountability Playoff Edition. So it's printed out for 5 weeks, and we're filling up week 5 right now. So
that's awesome.
I'm very excited, as I'm sure you guys are.
Christian had to ask you.
Chicken wings. You're gonna fuck up some chicken wings.
Yes. Yeah.
Right around 9-10 o'clock when we win this fucking Super Bowl. Yes.
Poppy Latte was very interested in asking you how well your riding goes. Before we let you go,
that was important.
Yeah, it's very important. We need to know a score prediction from you. I mean, I already know who's going to win based on what you're going to say, and also give us a bold prediction or maybe an MVP or, who you think is the key to this game coming out the way all Bucs fans want it to.
Oh boy.
No
pressure.
Score prediction. I mean, never, ever picking against the Bucs. This game especially, but I feel good. So let's say score prediction. Let's go 37-28 Bucs. Super Bowl 37. So we're going to get 3 field goals, 4 touchdowns. I think we're going to be able to move the ball. Or actually, no, 37-31. The Chiefs get a field goal too. So 6-point game. Bucs win it. Close one. I'm excited. As far as dark horse MVP, I don't think anyone can realistically win it on offense unless it's Tom. I mean, playoff Lenny has a shot if he has like a monster game and Tom is kind of, whatever statistically. I don't really see that happening. Devin White certainly has probably the best shot on defense to win MVP. When you look back at our last Super Bowl, Dexter Jackson won MVP. He was, probably one of the least likely guys on that defense to win MVP. So, part of me wants to say JPP just because he has that experience and he's, that guy. But I'm going to give you a very bold prediction for MVP. And this is just a bold prediction. This is not who I think is going to win, but if it's going to be someone bold, it's the guy who's got an interception every game. Sean Murphy bunting, 2 picks this game.
I like it. I like it, but I don't like it. Steven, you didn't say GPP the correct way.
GPP.
Thank you.
I love it. Steven, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Hold on.
What?
I have one last one. I'm sorry.
Hit me.
And answer it fast. There's a 70% chance of rain. Does that fare in our benefit?
Yes.
Or their benefit?
Yes.
It's a good question. I mean, I hate that I think this. Every time I think about rain in Tampa, I think about the Mike Evans Giants game where he had like 5 or 6 drops. I mean, it's our home stadium. We have to be used to this by now. So I would say any type of inclement weather or, different type of weather is going to favor the home team like it did with, Green Bay last week. Certainly they're in their favor to, have a very cold stadium, etc. We're playing outdoors. So I would think it would be us. It gets criticized a lot, but, in the draft, a lot of people talk about hand size and stuff like that. Patrick Mahomes does have smaller hands than normal. I'm not saying that he's going to fumble the ball or throw interceptions, but I think it's like 9 1/4 inch hands. If it gets a little bit slippery, that could play into our advantage. So we'll see.
I like that. I like that a lot. Don't forget, Steven, there's absolutely no ketchup this week. Stay away from ketchup.
No Casey style barbecue.
It's not approved.
No ketchup. No Muppets.
No Muppets, bro. I don't see any Muppets in the background.
No Kermit.
And if you accidentally somehow come across Jackson Mahomes' TikTok account, just kind of accidentally report it for a hate crime. No big deal, right? That's all. Steven, thank you so much for joining us. Let everyone know how they can follow you on Twitter and also about your really fucking entertaining podcast that you put together with Willie Colon and the guys over there.
Sure. Yep. So that's the Going Deep podcast. It's at Going Deep on Twitter and Instagram. Very fun show. We actually talked to Tom House, who's Tom Brady's private quarterback coach, quarterback guru this week, which was a fun conversation. Steve McClendon of the Bucs, obviously, the nose tackle, and he gave some very interesting insights on this season and about the coaching staff. About Todd Bowles, about Coach Laurie Locust, who's the assistant defensive line coach. A lot of good stories there. So be sure to check that out. It's coming out tomorrow on Wednesday. And follow me on social. It's my name, Steven, Steven, and my last name, Cheah, Cheah, on Twitter and Instagram. A lot of Bucs breakdowns. Hopefully, I'm breaking down a Super Bowl win on Monday night or Tuesday night.
Fuck yeah.
We'll see.
Yes.
But yeah. Give me a follow there. It's always great hanging with you guys. It's you guys have done an awesome job with your show, and obviously the graphic element, which Samurai, obviously I know you crush in. So always good.
We contribute. I do graphics.
That's right.
Do stick figures and stuff.
I'm too humble to take credit for all of that on my own. These guys, they do the majority of the work. I just kind of choose the colors. It's not, I don't want to take all the credit. But thank you again,
and
Steven.
thank you for sending me the shirts. Very cool. Back to the playoffs. Now we gotta have it back to the Super Bowl one.
Oh yeah. Victory shades coming Sunday night, baby.
Yes, sir.
Go Bucs.
Let's go.
Bucs.
Don't do that. Yeah, hopefully let's get this stuff.
Steven,
All right.
Appreciate you coming on. By the way, thanks for the compliments, man. Our bar is Barstools. When we say, like, should we do this? Would Barstool do it? Yeah, fuck it. We're doing it.
Yeah, we always do.
That's the
There you go.
bar.
It's a good model. All right. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
guys.
Steven.
Go Bucs.